Hi, this is Kevin Thomson. Watch me answer your Twitter questions on Hibernian TV.
Kevin, thanks for joining us here at the training centre just before the morning training session, and we're here to answer the questions that have been tweeted in for #AskTomo. Lots of questions, some quite bizarre, some more straightforward, but we'll kick off with a Hibernian TV question if possible, and just your thoughts on the draw against Celtic. How well do you feel we performed on the day?
I think it was a good performance. We know Celtic coming to town are always going to have lots of the ball and make it difficult for you, and I think in the end you need to ride your luck a wee bit as well, which Ben had obviously some fantastic saves, and on another day obviously they would have felt they might have scored a few goals, so I think you need to ride your luck, but I think the commitment and the desire and the overall performance for 1 to 11 was fantastic.
Obviously in the aftermath of the game there's been some accusations levelled at us for being perhaps over-competitive or overzealous in the tackle. Do you think they're fair or accurate?
I played against Lenny when he was a player and he was ultra-competitive as well, and I think if he was the manager of Hibs he would be quite proud of the lads, so I think it's just one of these things. I think he's nursing a few injuries and obviously dropping points, and they've got a big game coming up on obviously Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever day it is. So I think it's just kind of tongue-in-cheek almost comments, and I think he'll be when he looks back and watches the game he won't be overly bored about any of the challenges.
To what extent though do you feel it could potentially alter the perception of Hibernian with future referees officiating our matches, that maybe will be perceived as some sort of rough team?
Well, I'd be disappointed if that was the case. We're certainly not a rough team. There has been occasions this season where the managers questions our desire and commitment and our hunger for starting matches when we've obviously started off sloppy in the start of the season. So I think answering the manager's calls basically is what the boys are doing, and I think if you're a football man and you understand the game, there was no over-rest tackles on Saturday. It was just a competitive game, and it's funny, I seen a point then one of the boys were saying that if some of the tackles had been on Scotty or boys like Charlie Mulgrew or that, they would have just got up and got on with it, but obviously the boy Kaya had rolled around a couple of times, and sometimes maybe the rolling around makes the tackles look a lot worse than they are.
Obviously, enough of my questions now to the questions that have been tweeted in by supporters, starting firstly with Dylan Leishman, who asks you, what brought you back to Hibs?
So I sat down and looked at my options in the summer, and I had a couple of options down south, which I always said to my dad and to myself that unless something excited me, going down somewhere and playing a brand of football that would suit me, the thought of going down and playing in a championship team that potentially could get beat most weeks, and travelling all over the country to play, I never got excited about it. So the thought of coming back here and hopefully being part of a good team that the manager was trying to build, then it was something that excited me, and the big carrot for me being able to keep my family up the road and keep us all settled was also a big factor.
How much do you enjoy living in Edinburgh, being that close to Peebles and enjoying the Scottish countryside as well?
I love it. I've never had any fact. I do a lot of shooting. I do a lot of stalking with a good friend of mine, and obviously my family are down in Peebles, and my wife's originally from Edinburgh as well. So we've got 2 beautiful young boys, and family's good, and that hopefully reaps rewards in the park and coming into work every morning and enjoying myself. Do
you feel happier than ever before? Because obviously you were still staying in Edinburgh when you played for Rangers, but obviously you had to move down to when you were playing for Middlesbrough. Do you feel really kind of settled now? I
do now. Middlesbrough was a tough time for me. Everybody sees football players and they see the luxury and they see that the boys get paid big salaries, and they see all the good things that footballers get, which is great. It's the best job in the world. I would never ever disagree with that, but the other side of the coin is things like that I went through down at Middlesbrough, and being away from your family and being stuck down there, and not playing and being injured, and nobody coming up with a reason why you were injured, and then having to go through operations, and the dark times basically the football. And unfortunately for me, my 3 years down there, was all dark really. There was no enjoyments apart from meeting some great people. Football in my eyes, off the park, everything was wrong about the place for me, and I'm just glad to be back up the road and, as you say, enjoy my football again.
Do you feel that the performance against Celtic was your best since you left Rangers, would you say? Did it rank up there alongside some of the best of your career?
No, not really. I keep on hearing everybody saying that it was fantastic on Saturday, and I felt powerful again, and I felt as though I had a wee point to prove, the fact that, you know, we got such a hard time in the press after the cup final, and, you know, Celtic in the end run out worthy winners, and we got a bit of flack, I thought, as a team for that, not being competitive against arguably obviously the best team in the country, with the best players. And on their day they were far superior to us, but, you know, Saturday we matched them, and we gave the fans something to shout about. And I don't know if at a personal level it was one of my best games, but, you know, it's one that I enjoyed, and fingers crossed I can build on that.